Meanwhile, I do need to get those show notes in order. So I will be slightly distracted.
Mm-hmm.
Show notes always my favorite
part.
Yeah,
I don't know how long I'm going to... Oh, God, my audio is exploding. I don't know how long I'll... Oh, my God, my audio is exploding. Hang on.
No, just a couple of hours. It's fine.
I had to lower my audio because it was exploding on the YouTube stream.
Well, I hear you just the same.
Oh, do you? Oh, that's because you're getting the
X minus.
That's weird. Okay, so guys, what's happening?
If you
those of you that are just joining this Polyglot George Unplanned podcast, this is a collaboration between Mark and George. You don't see Mark because we have technical difficulties right now, but we just finished the Mark and George show, which was a very informative show, and now we're still streaming over the No Agenda stream, but we wanted to invite people in, but there's not quite a lot of people joining in yet, so we thought we'd join the groups together and see who could jump in. There is a link in the description. It is the markandgeorgeshow.com/Discord. And people are now starting to jump into the YouTube stream, which is nice. If you'd like to join everyone. Mark and George, pop in now. Are you...
This is work.
Are you calling me?
Yeah.
Skype's not... Hang on. Oh. Where is that coming from? I hear it, but I don't know where it's coming from. Hang on.
Might be from me.
Oh, yeah.
It's from me.
Okay. Okay, hang on. Let me turn Skype on.
Trying to reach is currently unavailable.
I'm currently unavailable.
Please leave a message after.
Let me try.
All right. Okay. Are you... here it is.
Ooh.
Mute. There you go. All right, let's see.
Mute.
Let me, excuse me. Let's see if we can get... This is very technical. Very technical.
Konnichiwa, minasan. Yoroshiku onegaishimasu. ジョージはラスベガスに来ます。
帰ってきました。
帰ってきました。
I'm trying to figure out how to get you in here. Oh, these are the wrong scenes. Hang on, let me go to the Mark and George scenes.
It's markandgeorgeshow.com/Discord. It will
there we go.
Bring you right to our server.
Sorry, I coughed right into the...
Konbanwa, minasan.
No one heard you speaking Japanese because when I flipped over to this screen, they couldn't see us. Sorry.
Well, darn it. They lost some good quality content.
Yeah, your Japanese was so perfect.
How about that for a ding, huh?
You might hear us cut out for a second. I'm trying to get our stuff here.
Man, we were chock full of content today.
Excuse my coughing.
Coughing excused.
All right, now you're on the screen, but I'm gone. I'll figure it out eventually. This computer doesn't know what it's doing.
Yeah, it's been a while for you.
There we go.
How long has it been? 8 weeks? 6 weeks?
7 weeks.
7 weeks.
All right. There you go.
See, this ties right into my theory about when you try to predict something. It also works for estimations. Usually, when you predict or estimate like a number, you always guess wrong. And I guessed 6 or 8, and it was 7, right smack in the middle.
I'm not ignoring you. I'm still trying to figure out what I'm doing here. Trying to get rid of that.
Yeah. Usually, if you disagree with me, then I will hear it.
What'd you say?
Oh, I like how I look into the camera like I am.
Wait, where's your green screen?
Oh, it's in my closet here.
Much like you are in the closet. That was a joke. That was a lame joke. I'm sorry.
Hey, man. I'm just gay in the happy sense of the word. I'm 100% jolly and gay. The Unplanned. Oh, episode 13, George. You're catching up to us.
I would have done more, but God, my throat's killing me. I do not know how to get your bar on the top removed. Skype doesn't let me do that. See full video feed. Nope, that doesn't do it.
Wow, the YouTube thing is delayed so much.
Oh, yeah. Welcome.
Do you see I am now using my microphone slightly differently? I'm trying out the Joe Rogan style.
Oh, gosh, I was watching
Microphone.
the Joe Rogan thing. I really want to buy that cord that he has. Not cord, but the carrier.
The microphone arm?
Yeah, my brain doesn't work.
Yeah, those are so nice. Oh, now I'm only seeing myself trying to push up the bar. Wow, that's like 2 minutes of delay. All right, well, we let's see, just 8 viewers. Hey,
Well,
man,
there's 11. But apparently
Okay.
the stream video output's too low.
I am getting 1440.
I'm sending 13,000. Apparently it's not getting, the video output's too low.
1080.
It doesn't make any sense.
I have a little bit orangey lamps here. I don't have my bright lights on. And let's, it's a good time to test out my green screen. Oh, wait, no, I cannot because I'm not using OBS.
Yeah, don't worry about it. I can't stay here too long because my throat's really starting to kill me. And I got to go get some food.
Yeah, 2.5 hour show.
Like the left side of my throat really making me want to cough. So dry.
Want to get a lozenge?
Already ate way too many of those. I need to go back to bed. What do I need to do?
Show title. I was thinking about...
Show title is Magnitsky Act.
No, I have a better one. The Ecuador. Because Julian Assange was shown the Ecuador. ECUADOOR.
Exciting. That's gonna be
And
that's gonna be something people search for. It's gonna get us a lot of views, man.
well, I'm putting on underneath. I'm adding the actual keywords and stuff like that. Ecuador, episode 22. If, again, for all of our viewers, if people want to join us, please do so. Go to markandgeorgeshow.com/Discord.
Yeah.
And you
Oh yeah, I
will
forgot that's why we were doing this.
be thrown
But I think the stream
right.
is just probably really choppy for everybody. The internet gods
it's
are not
really
shining
choppy.
us.
Oh, yeah, it's a little bit. Yeah, it's weird, right?
I haven't heard it. Let me hear.
Because Julian Assange was shown the Ecuador.
Mm.
Melanie asks, how's the jet lag?
I guess I'm okay already. I mean, it's like normal. I always sleep weird anyway, so. I hung out with
Yeah.
Melody a little bit.
In Japan.
Mhm.
Oh, cool.
Oh my God. This sucks.
Well, listeners to the No Agenda stream, of course, are also welcome to join us in the Discord. Chat with us. We're waiting. Open lines on the Mark and George show.
Open Lines Friday.
And today our topic is UFOs, aliens, and shadow people.
That was a cool sound.
And
Yeah.
but you know, I feel like we're just before the big influx of people will
Yeah.
actually
The huge
join us
influx.
here.
As
Yeah,
I sit here and
think
die.
it's on the horizon.
I don't know. We'll see.
Ecuador. It's such a stupid title.
Don't name
Let's
it
go
that.
with that.
Then. Call it
That's funny.
Assange gets the Magnitsky Act explained to him.
No, the titles are usually one word, stupid words.
I'm going to...
Here's a list of show titles we had. The previous one was Commitments. Before that, we had Gatekeepers. Before that, we had No Collusion. Before that, we had Sneaky Meteor. Grounded. Sheet the Bed. That was a nice one. Earth First. Diminished Voices. Emotional Contagion. Biased. Spoiler Alert. Double Digits. Bop and Squiddles. That was a nice one.
was one ever called Sex Robots?
No, but the one you invented was Transgendered Baby Boom Doomsday Seed Fault.
It's the best one.
And the worst one is episode number 5, which is titled The Episode After 4. I'm going to call this one Ecuador.
Someone click the link down below and join the Discord so that Mark isn't talking to himself while I go to the bathroom.
Yeah, please do. Join us.
Come on, guys. At least Melanie could have the decency to come in and not say a lot.
Let me add here. Please join us in the Discord
God, we're so desperate.
server.
I really hope this is the early days where we're so desperately begging for people to talk to us.
Yeah, and we will reflect on this in a couple of years and go like, hey, man, remember that time when we weren't busy at all?
Could you guys please come talk to us? Because we're like really desperate to talk to people. And then we'll be all, no, when we're big, we'll be like, look, we've always had a policy of inclusion. All right. And it's great. Like, you can't talk to thousands of people trying to talk to you, but we've always tried, from day one.
We don't respond to everything, but we read everything.
Yeah, that's
such a nice comment to be able to make.
Yeah.
We've got Darren.
Oh, thank God someone came in.
Our very own Darren.
Darren.
Yay.
And Melanie arrived.
And Melanie. Nice.
Darren's a great guy.
Comfy.
We need to have Darren promote himself a little bit.
And us. Yeah. Oh, he promotes us.
We don't need.
You're
we're
right.
doing amazing. We don't need anyone to promote us.
You wanna do something?
We're big in Europe.
Are you?
I gotta go pee. I gotta go pee,
Yeah,
but no
go
one's
ahead.
talking yet, so no one's taking
Oh,
over. Well, Melanie's saying something, but I can't hear her.
No, people are joining.
I can't hear her though.
Because I'm not saying anything.
Oh, well, that explains it.
You're just
You were lit
winking.
up. You were lighting up, but you weren't saying anything.
Yeah, the green circle was blinking.
Melanie, you actually left Japan early, didn't you?
Somebody left.
You left Japan early, didn't you?
Darren. Hopefully
Yeah, I did.
Darren will be back.
It's funny because I left Korea early.
I was homesick.
I was Japan sick. I was really bored. I got bored near the end of Korea. So I said, I'll take a boat to Japan. That'll be more fun. And it was. It was a lot more fun.
Strange.
Big Perm says he'll be here in about 15 minutes.
Nice. Big Purr, man. I still want him to make his own show or join us in the No Agenda world.
Yeah.
He's a no agender.
I'll tell you what, these people in the trucks that don't know how to drive, don't even know how they got their licenses because they're just sitting here, talking on the CB all day and they ain't even doing their job. And it's like, I'm just sitting here, us serious folks that, we spent the time to get our license and we spent the time to learn the rules of the road. And then these people just be, talking on the CB the whole time and, and veering off into the traffic there to the left or to the right. I don't know if they're waiting for maybe Tesla to have their own truck where the things will, drive themselves. But I'm sitting here, driving. I'm driving for a living. That's what I do for the UPS, USPS mail,
Almost. His sentences aren't that long. It's more like, yeah, I'm driving to
yeah,
sunny
but he keeps
Louisiana.
talking. He can keep talking. He can bloviate like you.
Bloviate.
Man, today, Mark, honestly, Jesus, man. Oh my God. The web that you're like creating. I'm like, how the hell? And so does this job who used to came from the DNC and is over here. Like the way you're like connecting all the dots is crazy, dude.
I love it.
Yes, Gail, I do love Korea. I do love Korea. But I think I think I might be done with Korea for a while.
Nande?
You want me to read you? No, I'm gonna do it anyway. I wrote this live tissue box. Are you ready? You ready for this, Mark? This is what I wrote about leaving Korea.
Yes. Is the rest ready? Hey, Darren, I see you sending audio, not hearing you. Maybe you're just not.
I feel like live tissue box channel moment's gonna be lost.
Whenever someone talks, I will let you know it's working. Yes, please, George. We are.
All right, so this is what I wrote when I
seats.
decided that I wanted to leave Korea, and I was kind of bored. I wrote this. It's not that long. This is the last time. Well, in fact, every time is the last time. We are often in such a rush to get to the next destination that we don't think to properly say goodbye. Perhaps it isn't even possible to say goodbye to everyone. I certainly have met too many people over the years to contact everyone in all of the places I've been. Unless faced with certain death, we never know when it's the last time. But I have a feeling, or maybe I have decided, that this is it for me. I feel that if I don't make this my last time, I will miss so many other first times, and more importantly, miss a chance to grow as much as I did here. This place, the random people I met, and the ones that made coming here so worthwhile will be missed. I would never, nor could I ever tell them that this is the last time. It would hurt too much. After all, how do you say goodbye forever? The answer for me was to not say goodbye at all. I ate dinner with a few friends, watched a movie with another, and even sang a few songs with my very first friend here. I especially think she is important because without her kindness, perhaps the first time would have been my last. This is my last time. I think this, but not once did those words ever come from my mouth. So, for those of you who are my true friends, know that I love you and that my time spent with you was worth it. I made sure to take a little extra time looking at each of you to make sure that I wouldn't forget the details of your face. And I listened longer than normal to make sure that I wouldn't forget the way your voice reverberates in my ear. When I leave this place tomorrow, I leave knowing that I accomplished more than I thought possible. By leaving, I hope to open doors to more experiences similar to the ones made possible by all of the amazing people I have met here. So, see you all next. No, actually, I should say goodbye.
Wow.
And I wrote that on the train coming back from Seoul, as I thought, you know what? 7 years I've been coming to Korea. I'm very happy with my Korean. I don't know what else I could do here. I don't know what new experiences I could accomplish in Korea. And I was thinking, I want to do Vietnam. I want to do China. And if I keep coming to Korea, I just don't have the bandwidth as a human being. I have a wife and my lovely daughters, and I can't always be out of the city. I can always be out of Las Vegas. So I thought maybe this should be the last time that I come to Korea. maybe it will be.
You are, leaving on a high note.
I think I am.
Yeah, that's nice. That's a good idea. Well, it's beautifully written. So, Gail wants to know, is China going to be your new love?
Sorry. I don't think so. I really don't love China. I don't love that they don't have YouTube and Google, and it's just too much. As much as I don't love religion, I also don't like dictatorships, and I feel like China's definitely more like a dictatorship. So I'm thinking, although Vietnam's probably the same, I'm thinking Vietnam. I'd like to try Vietnam. I'd like to go there.
Taiwan.
I don't know.
Pretty much China light.
I'm going back to Japan in August to the Nebuda Festival. You're welcome to meet me there, Mark. And then after that, maybe I'll take a week to Vietnam just to see what it's all about. I know one word in Vietnamese right now, so.
Hey, no more Dutch.
Niet doen. Niet doen.
Do it.
Hey guys,
Hey,
Yo.
Hi.
how's it going?
it's going great. I'm waiting for an internship
Hey, this is
for
Benjamin.
Germany,
Oh, in Germany, huh? An internship?
so I'm a little bit excited. It
Nice.
goes to my hometown, so where I'm born
Ah,
in Germany. So
what kind of company?
maybe you know it's the company's called Steel. They make the chainsaws.
Oh, wow.
That's an appropriate name for a chainsaw company.
Yeah, I think it means something in German. I don't know in English.
It gives you like an instant 5 points to your masculinity. Just
Yes,
saying,
yes,
hey, I
it's
work
great.
for yeah. Wow.
But I will be working
you're
on
hearing
the
about that today?
a few days ago.
Yeah, but you're waiting for their response?
They responded like today, so
Oh,
that's
I
great.
see. Cool. Congratulations.
It will be 6 months, and it's really fun because I will work in the development department, and there are all new stuff going on. So it's pretty great for an engineer. It's like because they have like
Yeah.
a lot of money, and they doing new stuff, and it's fun.
And that will look great on your resume.
Yes, yes. And I'm the last year on faculty, so
When you get a job with somebody,
yes.
which is, as you know, the worst thing to ever do is work for somebody. Boom! Slam.
Got another comment in the YouTube live channel, and I am not able to read Korean.
Napun Namja.
Except
He's one of the co-authors of Korean from Zero. I still want to hang out with you there one day, George. Too many good memories. Yeah. I don't think it will be my last time, but this is the first time I've come back from Korea thinking, don't need to go there again. It's me thinking, I'm done. So if I go back, it'll be, it's not in my plans right now. Normally when I leave Korea, I'm always thinking, okay, I'll be back in August or I'll be back in November. And I told my friends, I'll be back. But I didn't tell any of them, but I just think, I don't think I'm going to go back for a while. I had a blast in Korea, but I got really bored in Busan. I got to be honest. Just like going to classes is fun. Doing things in Korea is fun, but I've done it so many times. It's not new anymore. I'd rather do something in another country and learn about Vietnam. That sounds awesome. Doesn't it?
How about Russia?
Honestly, any place sounds awesome right now.
Russia, man. Go undercover there for our show.
Find out if Putin's really got his golden fist around the country.
Yes.
That would be really cool.
See if you can meddle in their elections, huh? Get back, payback.
Oh, my God. Oh, the opener for the show would be so good. Mark and George show. I'm reporting from St. Petersburg, where I am meddling in the Russians' elections.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
I would change the show opener to something that goes like hey.
And then it'd be like George Salakula. Just give me like a Russian name.
And then the next episode will be like, George went missing in Russia.
I'm looking for a new host.
It might be cool to visit Vietnam and then Russia.
And then in a year, I'm going to avow the killing of George.
Yeah, you'd be like,
Well,
my lawyer friend George was
Yes.
murdered in Russia. And then you would be contacting Interpol to get justice for me. It'd be very complicated.
Oh, I would 7 times at least.
That's fun.
Cannot stay behind this one. Oh
George
yes,
will be
these
hiding
are
out in
contextual.
the American embassy.
Yeah,
They're
they're-
the
Helicopter.
Ecuadorian.
No, Melanie, you could hold up a sign in front of the Russian embassy that says "Justice for George."
Yes, donate now.
Yeah. Finally, we'd get some donations, Mark. It'd be amazing. Might definitely be the
getting all the
best
money
thing
I've
for
been
the Mark and
sending,
George
Mark?
show.
Salvation.
I think
Salvation for George.
Darren, did you just say something?
Yeah, I mean, you haven't been getting all the money I've been sending to Mark. I mean, it's like $4,000 or $5,000.
What
He's
the
not sharing
fuck?
that with you.
This guy, I tell you, man. You know, my Russian
Bling
lawyer is
bling,
gonna,
baby.
my Russian lawyer is going to look into this shit because I think so far $230 million has been taken out of the account.
I
Right,
demand
that's
the
just an
void zero
accountant.
tax returns.
And that's why
Taxes?
That's why
we
Mark
don't
doesn't
pay no
show me.
stinking taxes.
That's why Mark doesn't show me his tax returns. Bastard. He said he was going to, but he was getting audited right now.
Cayman Islands, baby. I'm doing the Dutch sandwich. It's an
So you
actual
have
thing.
he at least has an escape plan ready. Cayman Islands. We know where to look for you.
Yeah, between the Caymans.
Darren, how much time do you spend when you're researching one of your podcasts, by the way?
Probably not as much as I should on a lot of them. It's a
They seem
Yeah,
really
here's those-
researched to me.
you know, well, it's something that's on my mind. So it's one of I don't really look at it as spending a lot of time researching this stuff. Like today, I just finished and posted a podcast about art is dead, which is all comes from the fact that the Chicago Cubs, if you heard this story, it's the craziest thing. Opening day, they did a bunch of new artwork in their press box. One of them was a reproduction of a 1945 pass that you would have needed to get into the press box. And being that it was 1945, the bottom of the pass said, "No women allowed." And it drove people nuts. Some female reporter from the Chicago Sun-Times tweeted this out on opening day. Within an hour and 16 minutes, the Cubs pulled the artwork down.
Wow. I mean, you can't even show history anymore because it's too offensive.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what I talked about, and the fact that all of these things that could be a teaching thing that you could have to point back to and go, look how far we've come, whether it's all of these statues from the Confederates and, even a lot of the Nazi stuff. And I understand different parts of the world, that's a much sorer subject. But when you start sanitizing and getting rid of the fact that all of these bad things happen and you want to cover this up, you're more doomed to repeat it. At least that's the way I kind of look at it.
I really love your voice, Darren. I want you to know that. It's
Thank
so good for,
8% gay.
isn't it? It's so good for podcasting.
It is.
No, I mean, I love Mark's voice too, but you guys together would be amazing. I'm not saying get rid of me. I'm just saying you guys are professional.
Well, I can trade you Sir Bemrose for a Mark, and we can, there's going to be a whole bunch of different shows going on. You never know.
I would like to hear that, man.
We should do wife
Ryan
swapping.
and George show.
We should do a wife swap. Like we'll do a podcast swap. That would actually be
could
fun.
work.
Oh, we can make a great no agenda group hug special thing. I can also invite John and Adam, and just everyone together for something special.
It'd be kind of cool
That
to
might
get
be
all of
nice.
us on camera, like on like a Google Hangout or something like that.
Have you heard the Larry show, George?
No.
There's another radio voice that we really need to get on
Yeah,
here.
that Larry Blyden, he makes my voice sound like crap. So
Darren,
it's
I mean,
a,
is it your voice? I mean, your setup sounds fantastic. Like, I feel like I really need to sit down and fix my setup.
Well, it's the same microphone. We're both using the Shure microphones. Going into a cloud lifter, which I don't know if you have one of
Yes,
those or not.
I do.
That definitely helps the Shure microphone. And right now, I'm using a piece of gear which is very similar to the DBX 286S,
Which is what I have.
which I've used that for a long time. I switched over to this on a whim because a guy that works or runs WCKG here in Chicago recommended this piece of gear, which is it's a 528E voice processor by Symmetrics is the company, and I bought one on eBay for like $200 shipped. I guess these are the things that they used to use in all of the radio stations before they start going digital.
Yeah.
It's very similar to the DBX, but you have a little bit more control. There's a full EQ for low, medium, and high frequencies, so you can tune your voice a little bit more. But it's not that much different than the DBX. But they both have the nice parts and some have each have good and bad about them.
Well, Mark has a big bottom now,
Oh,
I
I've heard
but
do.
that.
he's gonna
Here's
some
when I turn
dieting.
it off. This is how it sounds, and only just some EQ on the mix board. If I also turn off my mix board EQ, then wait a second. Then this is about how it sounds, I guess.
No,
Very
it's definitely an
flat
improvement.
and boring.
Definitely an improvement.
Usually I do this.
I have to go to the bathroom though, guys. I'll be right back. Now that people are talking, I will be right back. You guys, I can't hear you, but I'll be right back.
Okie doke.
Yeah, the big bottom and the oral exciter, which in the Aphex, which my wife hates Adam Curry because anytime he mentions a piece of gear, I want to go out and buy it. And it's usually not cheap stuff, right? It's usually
That's
not
for sure.
It's not a $20 thing, but it's an amazing thing. Just you don't want to noticeably hear the difference, meaning you shouldn't be able to tell people, well, this is really what you want to look for, but it adds low end without over accentuating it to the point of where it sounds fake. And the oral exciter really does just kind of add air to it. There's really no other way to explain it. Rather than your voice sounding very flat, it really does open things up. So it's a nice piece of gear, but you could start really daisy chaining so much gear together that you can drive yourself crazy. And it's only for people that do live shows that are crazy enough to do that, because otherwise, a piece of Adobe software will do all of that for you in the post, but it's hard to get that sound live.
Yeah, doing stuff in post isn't really my thing, as you know.
Right, you don't like to edit.
No, not at all. I mean, I like to edit for when I'm making, like jingles and stuff, but for the live shows, well, I know some podcasts that are making, that are edited podcasts. Well, yours is one of them, and you do it in a really nice way. But I also know some shows where it just sounds too smooth, too much of the ums or the breathing taken out of it, which makes it sound too mechanical for my taste.
Right. Well, the one thing that is nice, I will say, with doing a show with a co-host, and we got the website set up, so grumpyoldbens.com
nice.
is up, which is what I've been doing while listening to the Mark and George show, so I've been very productive. But the nice thing when doing a co-host show, using especially Zencaster, which we used for the first episode that Sir Bemrose and I did, the fact that it will give you a WAV file of both of your voices individually, you can get anytime you're talking over each other, and sometimes that's natural and it sounds great, but you can move that audio to where you don't miss, and you sound a whole lot more professional. People will be like, hey, you guys never interrupt each other. But you can, if there's something that's really important that might have otherwise gotten missed because two of us are talking over each other, or when one of us coughs or something like that doesn't get caught, that's a nice thing to be able to go back in and edit it out. But you can drive yourself nuts. Steve Dahl, who I talked about a lot, who's a Chicago radio legend, is doing a podcast now. And he's a guy that will openly admit that, on an hour show, he could do 4 hours of editing if you let yourself do it, because there's always something else you think you can make better. And there has to be a point to where you just go, hey, this was good enough.
I came in for the second half of that, but I agree.
Turn the wrong thing here. And you can use it for live. It sounded great in live.
Well, we were actually using Discord. Yeah, we use Discord.
Oh, you
and
were?
that,
Oh, interesting. Oh, I see.
and Larry did cut out a little bit, which is the only reason I would like. And again, it comes down to if you're using Zencaster, allegedly, if everything works the way it should, and we haven't used it enough to know, with everybody having a local recording going on, even if your audio connection during the call is horrible and the people listening live get a lot of dropouts and artifacts, the finished product should be absolutely perfect, like you two were sitting in a studio together, because you're getting local files that are then mixed together.
So maybe we should do that.
But then that's editing for Mark, and that's not going
Well, yeah, but that's an edited show, and it's
But
for
actually,
live, it's just
Adobe has the ability to match stuff together. You click one button and I can't hear anymore, Mark. Are you testing muting?
Did
yeah.
he mute you?
No, I changed my my settings here a bit, but it doesn't sound nice. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, I was just testing stuff. Don't mind me. I'm doing show notes, so I'm a little bit distracted here.
But the weird thing with Adobe is that you say matching stuff up, George. The wildest thing is it can take multiple audio files, and this is mainly used when I don't do a lot of video like you, but every now and then I do a video, and as long as there is a scratch track on whatever camera that you're using, you can then record that with another totally separate audio recorder. You put those two files together in Adobe, and it'll match the audio from all of them together. So if you have a bunch of different microphones, it lines them up perfectly immediately, and it just works. I'm amazed by it.
Yeah, my video editor found that out because we'd always spend this time. We have a show called Japanese Topics Mania with 3 or 4 cameras, and there's always this time like lining it up. But apparently, you just click a button, it'll line everything up automatically.
Yeah, go figure. The computer knows you want to do it, and it does it, whether that's scary or not. I don't know, but it works really well. I would always have thought there would be more drift, but I guess we're at the time now to where it can kind of figure out, even if one recorder is that, slight millisecond different over, an hour, you don't have the drift at the end or anything. It just seems to work, which is great.
Yeah, I actually haven't witnessed it working. I only heard that it works. So I wasn't able to find the 5. I really hesitate to buy a purely analog equipment. I don't like buying things that aren't made anymore.
That 528 is basically a combination, I guess, of a preamp and a big bottom.
Oh.
In terms of what it can
I mean,
do.
at this point, I'd rather just buy a big bottom and toss it on,
Yeah,
I'd like to toss on a big up bottom, if you know what I mean.
Even with that, here, this is also something I've been using. This is my preamp adding a little bit of bass here. That's not even the big bottom doing this. This is my microphone preamp. So yeah, it's just it's a chain of equipment, and well, yeah,
you're really struggling with that.
I think that your DBX should be able to make you sound better than it does right now.
I don't know what I'm doing, honestly. Need to fly Darren in to help me out.
Well, there's always a good time. I told Mark there's that place I've always wanted to go right outside of Vegas where the shooting range where you can kind of like shoot guns that no man should ever be allowed to shoot.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of shooting ranges here. So I don't know which one you're talking about. The one where you shoot outside?
Yeah, there's one where you can like shoot bazookas and all this other.
Oh, that's crazy.
Crazy.
Wow, that must be awesome.
I mean, I shot a gun for the first time the other day for my birthday back in October. And
like
it was just
any gun? You never shot a gun before?
I literally had never shot a gun. It was a 9mm. And I was surprised at just how much kickback even a 9mm has, but I can't imagine a bazooka.
Yeah. You'd want to be steadied for that. Even a 45 Magnum, you see like the old Dirty Harry movies, those are scary. I mean, those are really scary. The difference between a 22 is kind of like you're shooting a cap gun. A 9mm, there's a decent amount of kickback. A 45, I'm 6'6", and anywhere between 275
You're
and 300 pounds. Yeah, and you shoot a 45, and it's still like it's hard. You can't hold that thing in place. It just goes. I mean, it's gonna move you.
You have almost a foot on me, dude. Just for,
I mean,
I'm like 5'7", I think. That's
Yo.
ridiculous.
I hear Big Perm.
yeah, I went to the gun range today. Funny y'all should.
I went to the gun range today and I shot these
Wow,
bags
man.
that I didn't want to deliver for the mail. And I'll tell you, it felt really good.
I don't know
And
how
now I
it's
have a
called.
group.
You know, these clay things that they shoot into the air. You have to shoot those.
Clay pigeons, aren't they?
Skeets.
Skeets.
Yeah, skeets. We call them clay pigeons. Yeah, kleiduiven. I did that, and then I also shot. I think I'm not sure if it was. They were very small bullets, but they were there's a word for this, like Magnum maybe. But oh man, there was
357
such a
Magnum?
firepower. Yeah, probably. We weren't allowed to pick up the gun. We were only allowed to let it rest on a pillow and shoot on a 150-meter range or something.
Is that Darren making the gun sound there?
Yeah, that's a Sig Sauer 9mm here. So you can
Wow.
locked and
Oh,
ready to
man.
go. I mean, you gotta protect your podcasting gear.
I started looking at houses, by the way, to move to for a studio for my my new office. For the record,
Wow, cool.
been looking.
So Iris is doing the same thing for us.
Oh, you're looking to buy another house instead of having a separate studio?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I'm looking to have a second house, not like the same house.
Should I put the definition of bloviate in the show notes, by the way, George?
Just say what Mark did all the entire show.
Oh,
Definition of Yeah, well, I was on a roll.
You're going, man. I'm glad I was able to keep up a little bit and actually respond to things you were saying. It's not a bad thing. It was good, man. You really know your
Yeah, it
stuff.
was awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah, if you don't say so yourself.
But it's so nice to be able to speak multiple languages.
Look at
That's
you.
what's.
Are you just
know,
no? This is the new
Ah.
Mark. That's
No,
so
but a
funny.
couple of weeks ago, I didn't feel this at ease. I had to think.
Oh,
a
you
lot
mean
more
when you were
about my
speaking
words
when you were
and-
speaking Japanese in the beginning of this show, where the audio was actually
No,
off?
yeah, nice joke, George. No, I mean when I was talking more in the Dutch way of
Oh, when I was
English.
talking
No, I
more in
never
the
did
Dutch way.
that.
And you mean in your Dutch podcast?
My Dutch.
Is that what you mean? Anyway, I think Big Perm was trying to say something
sorry.
important here.
No, so I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch y'all show. I missed it today.
Oh, it was amazing. No
I'll have to go back
video.
and
We
rewatch
didn't
it.
have video, unfortunately.
I'm not sure how the quality on YouTube is because somebody told me that we were cutting out.
It's bad. Yeah,
So-
you might have to go to the stream. Mark will. It'll be up on the markandgeorgeshow.com website there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'll watch it tomorrow morning.
You don't gotta watch it. It's really a listen. There's nothing to
Oh, yeah.
watch.
Same thing.
I'll let you. I guess I'll let you guys talk for a bit because I do have to. My wife's. I just got back yesterday and she's
Catching
got a lot
scorpions.
A lot of things she needs me to
Catch
do.
some
I got to
scorpions.
change doctor appointments. I got to get pest control out here. It's too many things I got to do.
Make pictures of those scorpions, man.
No, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a video called
Send me them.
Yukari the Scorpion Hunter, and I'm gonna make a whole video on it. I'm gonna go with her later
Nice.
on the night with our Scorpion Hunter light, and I'm gonna have her. I'm gonna just I'm like a reporter gonna watch her do this thing. So I'll let this go for like another 45 minutes, and then I'll come back in and I'll shut her down. Is that cool?
No, I want you to stay.
I can't, man. I got family, man. I was away for 7 weeks, and now all of a sudden,
what I am.
you know it is. Come on, man.
Do you have links to your clips for me before you go?
No, I didn't.
Because
know.
I'm making
You
I'm
can't
making.
go. It just came in. Come on.
It happens, man.
See,
It happens.
When is book 6 videos?
I've already been doing this thing for 3 hours. You guys missed the Mark and George show.
that's true.
This is not like I haven't been here just for 10 minutes. This is like an unplanned collaboration.
Sure is. Well, no, I think you should stay.
Of course, everyone thinks
Twisting your arm here, man.
Family comes first.
That is
Yeah,
true.
see, Big Perm,
Exactly.
he knows what he's talking about. Actually,
Yeah,
it
if you have to
doesn't
go
come
hunt those
first
scorpions.
sometimes, but I can't push it off for 8 weeks. You know what I mean?
And if you're hunting the
That's
scorpions,
right,
I'd be
you
using
have-
like duct tape.
I haven't
Like,
been
like
home for
putting it on
7
there.
weeks.
Duct tape.
I
Yeah, I'd
came
be like
home.
making sure nothing can get up
And
my
President-
leg.
Oh, excuse me.
And President George Trombley.
Oh, this is me? I'm sorry for the noise, guys.
This was you.
Turns out it was me sending out the noise.
Yeah. You were only sending out
Gosh.
a link. You were sending out some sort of presidential clip.
Yeah, a little clip, but also I'm not sure if you can hear this,
Hmm.
but it's
Just
not
a little
really,
noise floor.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah,
I
hate
don't have it
this.
up loud enough to hear it. I think.
Well, I will stop transmitting this. Anyway, George, 45 minutes starting now.
Yeah, I'll let you guys. I'll let you guys hash it. I might be in and back. I just gotta talk to the wife for a bit so she doesn't think I'm ignoring her. So, all right, guys. See you later. Enjoy. Please stay in. Please stay. Talk to Mark. He's lonely. I'll be
telling you,
back in a bit.
I'm waiting for the 24/7 Void Zero feed.
It's gonna happen. You know it is. He'll just be sleeping in the background.
Well,
It can't
yeah,
be
I'm
stopped.
See you guys
I'm
later.
getting close to it. Already 5 podcasts a week. I'm making a Mark and George show twice a week. I'm making a Noise in the pre-stream sometimes twice a week, usually. And I'm making my Dutch show, made 2 episodes, on Wednesdays. So if we add it all up, then this is about 9 or 10 hours of content streaming in a week, which is quite stunning to
I
myself.
was gonna say,
to be
so
honest.
so you looked at guys like Adam Curry who are a professional doing this full time, who are putting in 6 hours, and you were like, I can do 9,
I can
easy.
top that.
I can
Yeah.
do more than that.
Well, it kind of just grew out to be this way, and I honestly want to reduce it a little bit because it is becoming a bit much. Even though it's better than just slacking on the couch, but I don't really know which time slot to give up yet. So I've been thinking about it because I want you to have the other one, but the choice is between Thursday and Sunday. And the nice thing about Sunday is being able to do a show by myself. But the nice thing about the Thursday is being able to do a show with Steven. So, gosh, it's a bit difficult choice. But I might give you the Sunday.
Hey, you have to do what is fun. Never get to the point to where you're feeling burned out. And, the worst thing you can do is get to the point to where you don't want to be doing one show, because then all the shows are going to kind of go downhill. And
True.
it's got to be fun. You have to enjoy
True.
it, or because we know there's like so much money in it that it's you better enjoy it.
Yeah, that's so true. Would you like the Sunday or the Thursday?
For me, it doesn't matter either way. They're both exactly the same. My weeks are completely strange because the way my wife is work schedule, that she's
same
off
here.
Tuesday and Wednesday. So for me, Sunday and
I see.
Thursday are exactly the same. So whatever, that's up to you. I have no preference. Whatever makes things easier for you, I'm fine. And if you want to just swap them around every now and then, it doesn't, that's fine too.
Yeah, I might, maybe, I just got an idea. Maybe it's better for me to give up the Thursday, because then I can still choose to take Steven on the Sunday. But if I give up the Sunday, then I basically have no choice but to take him here on the Thursdays.
Makes sense.
So for that reason, well, let's we can decide on this right now. That I'll make one tomorrow, and then you can do the 18th, starting the 18th, which is funny because that's a week before my birthday on the 25th, which is also on a Thursday. So,
Well, you have to do your birthday show, don't you?
yeah, we can do a collaboration.
Hey, I told Sir Bemrose, and he agreed. We need to get you on a Grumpy Old Ben's, and now that The
Nice.
I wasn't even really considering it a grumpy old Ben's for the pre-show on Sunday with Larry, but that just worked out so well.
It
And
did.
he's such a cool guy and just really kind of jumped in. Sir Bembros thought he was interrupting him a little too much. I mentioned that to Larry. He's like, nah, I didn't. You know, Sir Bembros, though, how quickly did we take this guy from, I'm never going to do a podcast, I'm never going to talk into a microphone, does one episode, and then episode number 2 live for an hour and 45 minutes.
Yeah, he did a great job. So for the people who have no idea what Darren and I am talking about,
Which is a lot.
we are talking about the radio station on the No Agenda stream, which you can visit on noagendastream.com, which is the radio stream accompanying the No Agenda show, which you can find on noagendashow.com. And well, you know, that's pretty much it. We have a 24/7 audio stream, usually with podcasts from a range of podcasts we like, and we also make the live shows there. I stream the Mark and George show there. We stream Darren's podcast there, and Darren also, well, you know, starting Thursday, he will make the permanent live No Agenda pre-stream, which is the show right before the start of the No Agenda show, and a bunch of other stuff.
There are a lot of great shows on, and it's quickly kind of turned into a stream that was just pulling some podcasts from a few different places to fill time to, you know, there's this whole kind of community that's kind of built around the No Agenda show and Nick the Rat, who's been around, well, for how long? He's been on that stream for how long now? Yeah, years,
Nick,
right?
Yes, coming close to, well, 3 years, I guess. He was pretty quickly after he started to make his show, we threw him on there. So, yeah, in the beginning time, but he also streams, I think he streams live to the stream. So not just the recording, but also his live show, maybe?
Late Wednesday night, late Wednesday nights here. So that's like early morning for you.
Yeah, and of course Rhino the Bearded, who makes a show all around the music that we can play on the stream without getting booted for not paying license fees. The Double O show also. So lots of content there to check out, and I'm very happy that I lured George into the mix.
Well, it was nice to get him into the No Agenda chat room so he can now, or the troll room. Well, I always say chat room when I think people are listening who don't know. Otherwise, I say troll room and they're like, what are you talking about? So it's kind of like you want to go, No Agenda chat room, troll room, whatever. But then he sees, I kind of felt bad.
Old style IRC room, pretty much.
Yes, and he's right. The first couple of questions he was asking for answers, we gave him correct answers as far as the chat room, troll room as a whole. And then, of course, we make a joke about Russian name being Gotcha Kutcha Kokov, and he didn't know it was a joke. So, you know, I know he was tired. It wasn't nice. We got to maybe give him a heads up when they're jokes.
That's what people do. That's what we do. It's fun to, stir it up a bit. Let's see. If I sound a little bit distracted, I am also making these show notes for today's Mark and George show. So sorry about that. Almost done here. Just, creating the MP3 file and creating show notes and everything. If you really
like doing show notes, you can do the show notes for Grumpy Old Ben's too. I mean, that would be great.
This is my my favorite moment of the whole podcasting routine. And we don't have to do it. It's just, courtesy. But I also have to do it for the Prisma, the Dutch podcast I make on the Wednesdays now, which is a little bit shorter. We decided to try to keep it to 1 hour because people said that they prefer like shorter shows. But for the Mark and George show, no way, man.
Well, I've had that conversation with a few different people that I've done podcasts with over the last 10 years or so. And there really is no right answer. It's what the audience will accept. It's what the audience wants. And there are some shows that should really be 20 to 30 minutes. And there are really shows like No Agenda that have to be 2 to 3 hours. You just don't want to be doing 3 hours and people are going, we only want a half hour, because that, that doesn't
Right.
really work for the audience. And it depends on your topic. If you're really timely, you almost have to be doing the stuff live. But Sir Bemrose and I have talked about it, and we have the concept that if we're covering different topics, maybe we have 3 hours this week to talk, and we can do 3 or 4 shows that we can then release over the next couple of weeks rather than having to be doing the show and release it immediately. So there is, if you're talking about topics that are not quite as timely, you can record and have a little bit of a backlog. But that's hard for some shows when you're reacting to things, like the Assange thing. It's like you can't have that being released 3 weeks later and make it still have any timeliness to it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a very good idea also. It's convenient.
It's always good to have a few in the can, like for days, where George gets, somehow disappears between Japan and Las Vegas. If you have an extra show, if somebody at the last minute gets sick, like last week I got sick and was no way I was going to be able to even speak. It's one of those things where if you have something at least waiting, you can throw something up and not have to miss a week. Because that's one thing too, especially when you're a new podcast. If there isn't that schedule that's being kept, once a week or whatever you're 2 times a week, whatever you're releasing, people get used to that. Then if you miss one or two, they're like, oh, what's going on?
Yeah, I'm blown away by the genius and simplicity of this idea. We should make an extra one, just an insert.
Yes, always have extra content ready to go. And it's easy to say, but it's hard to sometimes to get it put together. But it's a great idea if you can backlog a couple of shows.
And regarding content or show duration, even the guys at No Agenda, they didn't start off with making a 3-hour show. It started with, I think the first couple of shows were like an hour 15 minutes, and then they were just done. And everything else, well, as soon as, the donors came in, the donation segment really made it longer, and they debated the frequency and the length of the show quite often on the initial podcast. Like I remember show 300, 350 around there, them talking about this stuff.
Well, and some people get away. I mean, there are some like Fault Lines is doing 3 hours a day, right? Like 5 days a week, which is nuts.
Yes.
And then there's
but they've got a whole team and a radio studio and everything. So it's also, like it's their wages still working for, just a normal paycheck.
Yes, and that's a lot of talking to be able to do. But then you have the people like Jennifer Briney with Congressional Dish twice a month. It's like, okay, that seems like maybe not enough, but she has people that are subscribing and giving a decent amount of money to her show. So there's no right or wrong answer when it comes down to podcasts.
She's raking in the money now, though, isn't she?
It seems that way. I mean, it looks like just based on Patreon, which is way down her list of, because there's been so many issues with Patreon. I don't know why anybody would necessarily be so crazy as to ignore it as a platform, because it does still seem to be a place where a lot of people want to give money, and you really don't want to make it hard for that. But I know some people have stood up and been like, okay, we don't want to deal with Patreon because we don't like the way they did X, Y, and Z. But just her Patreon, which is way down her list as far as priorities of how you can submit, I think she's making about $2,000 per podcast, which isn't bad, which isn't bad at all when that's kind of like the secondary. So if you can do the math and figure out what she's getting in PayPal or other types of things, my guess would have to be somewhere at least in the $4,000 range, because I think the Patreon is the minority of what she's getting. I have nothing to back that up. It's just a guess.
Probably. Yeah, it's convenient for a lot of people, but other people prefer the PayPal method and stuff like that. So
yeah, and you can do the subscriptions and that on PayPal, which are nice. But if she's pulling in, even anywhere over 2,000 an episode, up to guessing maybe about 4 or so, that's a really nice monthly thing for doing 2 shows, somewhere between $4,000 to $8,000 for doing 2 podcasts a month is not really bad.
No, no, no. And to be fair, she does put in the work. It's a podcast that does require her to do a lot of research into what is happening in the U.S. Congress. So, it's value for value, and she makes the claim for a good reason because it's not like just a off the cuff type of podcast. But man, 4,000, that's nice.
Yeah, you certainly can't argue with that. And the fact that she's only twice a month maybe helps her for people who you want to follow the news, but you really don't want to follow the news for like 10 hours a day.
Yeah.
Twice a month might be enough.
Right.
It gets
Yeah. And
depressing
we
when
also
you watch the news too much.
exactly. It's depressing. Meet Big Perm, by the way. Darren, Big Perm, Darren.
Nice to meet you, Big Perm.
How's it
From
going, Dave?
Louisiana, I think. My memory serves me well. Yeah, Big Perm has the type of talking and the type of voice that I think would also be very suitable for a podcast.
You're always looking to get more podcasters.
Yeah, you kind of develop, like not a skill, but an ear for that, I guess.
He's trying to recruit me.
Well, just listen to No Agenda, man. That will recruit you quick enough. Let's see, on the Assange arrest, I guess is this one on the NTD News. Yeah, it was a chock full show. And the thing about making the Mark and George show is I can only make the for the biggest part, I can only put the show, especially the clips, together on the day of the show itself. So what I usually do, because I get, most of my news from a combination of aggregates and YouTube and Twitter, and I send all of those as private messages to my alternative Twitter account, and then I pick them out of my Twitter account, and I can easily open them, and there are usually also clips that play directly from Twitter. So that's how I usually get myself prepared every show. But there's
Have you
still a lot
talked-
of work.
Have you talked about the black hole? Podcast?
Come again?
Have you talked about the black hole in the podcast? That they make the
No,
picture
we
of?
didn't. No, we didn't. We should.
You should. That's an interesting
Yeah,
topic.
that is
You
an
know,
interesting topic.
really interesting about this. The thing that it confirms a really old theory, like from 1915. Thing is
Mhm.
that the quantum theory also is proven by other stuff. These are
Is there an
kinda,
alarm going off at in the background?
can you hear it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, but that's you. Okay.
that's.
So
I
it
can't stop.
confirms old quantum
No.
theory.
It confirms a old theory from Einstein. And the thing is,
Mhm.
the quantum theory and this theory are kind of contradictory.
Oh.
Both confirmed. And that's the funny thing. There was like a little bit of an anomaly. They can like say something like it's something weird, or there's some space to
Mhm.
something extra about it. So it's really interesting what they what they will say in the end, because they have like two and both are
Mhm.
like true. And
That is interesting. And do you know anything about the theory?
it's
Oops.
it's basically the simplest theory from all.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's about the relatively how to say theory of relativity, the general theory
Mm-hmm.
of relativity,
Yeah.
like that space and time is in a continuum, gets affected by gravity. So that's like the simplest rule.
Right.
Yes, and
The closer you get to the black hole, the slower time becomes, I think.
Yes, and it affects even light. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Because if you knew Einstein's equation, you have energy is equal to mass c squared.
Yes.
Light also calculate their mass.
Yeah, energy is mass times velocity square.
Yes. And so you can calculate if the gravity is so strong that it even attracts light. This happened by the black hole.
And the black hole confirms this. And this is the first time that they made an actual picture of it.
Yes, and it's so perfectly with the theory. That's the funny thing.
Have you also seen the picture or the GIF or GIF, depending on which of the houses you belong to, of Joe Biden fondling the black hole?
No, that's wrong.
It was funny. Went around on Twitter.
Hey, I
the
think
biggest
most
part of the
interesting-
story.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I've seen funny memes on the PewDiePie subreddit about this.
Oh yeah, probably. Yeah.
Like an UFO, PewDiePie, Bigfoot, and the black hole, and all in low resolution.
Have
So they're all
you?
camera beams.
I heard this story about his 2 songs, "Congratulations" and "Bitch Lasagna," being banned in India.
Yeah, it looks like it's true. I was thinking it's like a fake news, but
Scary stuff.
Well, I haven't been able to confirm it, but the little bit of research I was doing for the podcast I did a couple of weeks ago with the Porn in the UK podcast, I ran across an article which just kind of out of nowhere mentioned the UK as far as the types of things that they're already blocking from the internet. That one of the things was the National Enquirer website was blocked from the UK. And I said, if that's the case, then they're really going down a strange path. Because I don't think anybody actually believes the National Enquirer is real news. It's very obviously an entertainment publication. So if that is being blocked by the UK, you have to wonder all these countries that are deciding what's good and what's not for their citizens. I don't quite get the rationale behind a lot of it.
George told me today about something that he couldn't find on Google and on DuckDuckGo. It was the second result. I don't remember which one that was, but I had the same thing about this story about a former HSBC banker who committed suicide, and this story cannot be found with Google, only with DuckDuckGo and stuff like that. The story is totally disappeared. So it's very strange, especially because there's links to a bank that is not exactly known for its its positive effects on humans and stuff like that.
that's the effect of Google's monopoly.
And the bigger companies are trying to hand at censorship of what they think is morally right. Facebook, Twitter.
Right.
All of
And
them.
now there's the debate about whether this makes them publishers instead of, relayers. I don't really know the actual term for it. It's the same as a telephone company. They provide you with a service, but they don't decide what you can say or do on it. So, but if you're an editor, then that means that you become responsible for the content on the platform. And the strange thing is that being an editor gives you more responsibilities, but apparently the tech companies want these responsibilities because this gives them a moral authority.
Well,
Now,
until
Lord, be
until
honest
somebody
with me.
tries to put them in jail.
Sorry?
They
Darren?
only really want this until when you see these countries like Australia is one of them, maybe New Zealand, and the UK is now putting some legislation as far as what they're going to do, holding the people that run these companies like Facebook and Twitter to hold them legally responsible. All of these guys, Mark Zuckerberg when it's a power grab, thinks it's a really good thing for him to be able to decide what you post or not. Now, when it gets to the point to where if something gets through on his platform that one of these countries doesn't like and they want to either fine or put Mark Zuckerberg in jail, he may have a completely different thought on this.
But they won't be held personally responsible. It will always be the company and never the the CEO, unless there's actual malicious behavior from a person.
No, but that's not what these laws are saying. I think in Australia is the one of the clearest, and maybe the one in the UK just came out on April 8th as far as what they were planning. But I believe the one in Australia was going to hold the executives of these companies responsible, which I don't understand how that can happen, nor do I understand why any of these companies don't just go to Panama like NordVPN. That's why they're based out of Panama. They don't have to answer to any U.S. or any of these other these other countries as far as any legalities go. So I don't understand why all of these tech companies just don't move someplace like Panama and say, well, wait, we're based out of here. You can't touch us.
That's silly. That's weird. So that basically is the same thing as saying somebody's YouTube channel. Like I have a YouTube channel. If somebody says anything that is, unacceptable, for lack of a better term, then I will be thrown into the slammer.
In the comment section, right?
Yeah.
I heard about YouTube doing that. Like they're gonna hold the people accountable for what people comment in your comment section.
Well, they did that for the child pornography thing, where people were leaving timestamps on innocent, videos where children were in poses that apparently were appealing to these perverts, and they left the time codes for each other. And YouTube didn't know how to deal with this, so the first thing they said was, "We will disable the comment section because this is the only way we can immediately." Take action and prevent these bastards from, giving each other, the time codes and whatever to, I don't know, like a young girl doing ballet or something, just something innocent, and they leave the timestamp. So this was, I think, a temporary measure, and blown a little bit out of proportion by people who screamed censorship, because they had to weigh multiple choices, and this was just the most prudent, most pragmatic choice.
That's normally what happens, they react to something and it messes up with everybody because one person or a group of people is doing something unacceptable and everybody else has to suffer for this one group.
Yep. That's also how malicious actors can destroy something good by, doing it in this way. So trolls or whatever.
Well, I thought just looked this up about this Australian law. It says the law has made it a crime for social media platforms not to remove, quote, abhorrent, violent material quickly. The crime would be punishable if it's not removed quickly enough by 3 years in prison and a fine of either 10.5 million Australian dollars or 10% of the platform's annual turnover, whichever is larger.
It sounds to me a little bit like the Logan Act. What I mean is one of those, laws that is never actually being used. It's just there.
Well, which is a lot of the stuff like the UK's doing right now, because all of these internet laws they're coming up with, they have no idea how they're going to enforce them, especially in a world where VPNs exist.
Or even if they want to enforce them, they're just there for convenient moments, I guess. And of course, this Facebook thing has happened after the New Zealand disaster.
Well, it comes to the point, if you have to be responsible for everything that's on your platform, you cannot reasonably let anybody post anything that isn't viewed by a moderator first. And that then starts asking questions. Well, what if the moderator gets it wrong? What if they interpret the law incorrectly? Because a lot of these laws go way beyond just, abhorrent and violent material. A lot of these laws are mentioning, the spread of fake news or the spread of false information. Who gets to decide? Even if you're a Facebook, one of these people paid by them to look at the content and make sure it's within your platform's guidelines, who gets to decide if the story that says President Trump did X, Y, and Z is accurate or not?
Look, I find
Well,
fake news really funny. I don't know about y'all, man. I find that kind of stuff really funny on Facebook. Like whenever you say, "Oh, you can charge your cell phone faster by putting it in the microwave."
Right.
You're dumb enough to put your cell phone in the microwave to charge it. You don't deserve to have that cell phone.
Yeah, it's more fake news as in, well, usually the fake news is more like narrative based, like, I don't know, Trump colluded with the Russians.
Oh,
Right. There's no question.
It was fake news.
But now if somebody that
Yeah.
is reporting it believes it to be true, are they spreading fake news?
Yes, but unwittingly. And for this reason, the European Union has decided that all of the children younger than a certain age have to get their internet driving license, which teaches them to discern the real thing from the fake thing. And if they don't pass for the exam, they are not allowed on the internet. And I saw this in one of the McDonald's newspapers just the other day. How about that, huh? That's where I live.
Well, it's a one. I think there should be some kind of training for kids to be on the internet if they're going to be on it at all. There's really no reason for most kids at whatever age, at whatever country wants to describe as a child. There's really no reason for kids to be on the internet. I mean, you can do your schoolwork, your parents, you can have a device that you can be watched and parented. When I was growing up, I think you too, Void, you're not so young that our parents were expected to parent us. They were expected to watch, know what we were doing, and we didn't have anything granted like the internet, but the rules don't change. These parents that give kids that are 10, 12 years old, sometimes even younger, a device, whether it's a phone, a laptop, or a tablet, and just let them go without any kind of learning, any kind of teaching, any kind of monitoring. They're just asking for trouble. And then when the kid gets into trouble, they want to blame the government for not doing enough when it's, again, comes down to, well, parent your kid.
Not so sure. Well, I was in elementary school. We didn't have the internet yet, and on the when I got I think 12 or 13 years old, that's when I got onto the internet. So I know a little bit about both worlds. But these days, if you don't accept children or anyone to be on the internet, then they will feel excluded from a social circle, and that will be something that certain people will have a moral issue with, I think.
I mean, if that's the case, then you're saying that pedophiles are going to be still left out of society if they're not allowed to go on the internet and look at what they want to look at.
Here's the thing. I think that non-practicing pedophiles just fly under the radar. That's basically where I, cross where that's where my limit is. That's so if you have people who have these urges but they keep them to themselves and don't act out on it, then we cannot do, I think we are morally unable to do anything, because if we do something, we go into the thought crime territory, which we should really stay out of.
Well, look,
But I think we're getting there.
I actually have a story about that.
Okay.
I worked at a company. It was a small family-owned business. Well, the owner's son, who was like 50-something years old, he would go on the computer in the office and sit there for hours at a time and then leave. Well, we went one day. We got curious, and we went to look at what he was looking at, and he was looking at pre-teen models.
Right. So legal content.
He was looking at legal content, but it was pre-teen models, like
Right.
11-year-old girls dressed like they're 25.
Mm-hmm.
I have a problem with that. And he was a creepy old man. Like kids walk in, he'd be like, "You want a balloon, little girl?"
Well,
Give him a creepy smile.
yeah, so he has these urges, but he controls them to the legal extent by only looking up legal material, and he has internal like perversions with him. Yeah, if you catch someone, you can never look at them in the same way, but he's not doing illegal stuff, and he's not profiting from harm done to other people.
I agree with you on that. I know like they say it's a psychological imbalance for pedophiles and stuff like that.
Yeah,
But
all kinds of
as a
stuff.
society, we deem it wrong. But just a
Yes, we
few
do.
hundred years ago, a 13-year-old could get married and pregnant and sold off.
Oh yes, and it still happens.
So I mean, is it that society advanced far enough to say no, that's wrong? But somewhere in the back of your mind, that primitive way of thinking is still there.
Well, the thing is, do we appeal to authority in those cases? That's where.
Because who said that was wrong? A couple hundred years ago, you could marry a 13-year-old, and it was acceptable because people died early in life. So the earlier
And
you
nobody
give
asked
birth,
questions. Nobody asked questions.
Exactly.
Well, and it's the fact that a lot of these laws just don't make any sense, and there's no cohesiveness to a lot of these laws. In the episode I did the other day on my show, which talked about the porn in the UK, which is very similar to here in the United States. The age of consent is 16 in a lot of the United States, and it's 16 in the UK. Both places, if you take a photo of a person that is under 18, so if you take a photo of a 16 or 17-year-old boy or girl, that would be child porn. Showing a person that is 16 or 17 that is that age, showing them pornography, you would be committing a crime, but you could legally screw those kids at 16 or 17. That's
Actually,
not a problem.
Not 16 in the U.S.
Yeah, there's plenty of states where it's 16 in the U.S.
Where I'm from, the law is 2 years. 2 years. So if you're 16, you're going to sleep with an 18-year-old, not a 19.
All right, yeah. I think here the legal age of consent, of course, is also, I think, 16. But I remember seeing a lot of newspaper articles like back in the days, pre-internet days, where they really tried to lower the age. Which is just... Ugh.
Yeah, well, it's very strange. Well, I just don't understand also the disconnect between that, where it's okay at 16 to have sex with somebody, but you can't take a picture of it, then you're a felon. Because there are places like that you can look up. That's the odd thing about the United States is there's no blanket standard across all 50 states. Every one of the 50 states is different. Some of them do have that Romeo and Juliet law that says you have, if you're within a certain age, there can be an exception, meaning that if the boy is 18 and the girl is 16, then he won't get charged with it. But if somebody's older than that, they would. But it's not. It's different in every state. So it's very strange. But there's many of states in the United States where, again, it's illegal to take a nude photo of a person that you could legally sleep with. So it's weird.
Yeah, it's probably
federal
different.
And state laws are separate.
Oh, that's also a good point, yeah.
It doesn't mean our lawmakers know what they're doing.
No, well, probably they don't. And it's also a matter, I heard this the other day when somebody said that lawmakers, well, especially representatives are also very, usually, not in all cases, of course, but there are many situations where they can be influenced with just like 4 phone calls to let your representative know what they should vote in a certain election. So it's also just how, people use the tools that they have available, which is very different here. When you want, a political party to do something, you have to, send them a letter or an email, generally not a phone call. And it's just very difficult to get a political party to, even if you have many people who think of something the same way, it's still very difficult to get a political party to, listen to that kind of pressure.
I
heard that.
That's just one of the big problems.
Yeah, are the laws
of the lawmakers? Yeah.
Yeah, and the Netherlands, are they as screwed up as they are here, where you can have you can say have the healthcare bill, which is also going to have something thrown in about guns. It's going to have something thrown in about pork subsidies and Iowa. The countries like in the United States that do laws in a way that are so hard to follow. The laws are way too complex. They make zero common sense a lot of times. But each law, I've always thought every bill, if it's a bill about gun control, should solely be about gun control. It shouldn't mainly be about gun control, but to get somebody to sign it, you put in there that every street has to have a red light. I mean, it's just insane, the things that get bundled together to the point to where it's nearly impossible to figure out what laws you.
Yeah, it's an interesting question.
like
I don't know how
Obamacare.
that's here.
Like Obamacare was like 1,000-something pages about healthcare, but they had like your health provider can ask you if you own a gun and insurance. I mean, it was crazy. Like I had a guy who was in the armed forces. He works for our company, and Obamacare states that you have to have primary health insurance. You can't use VA as your primary health insurance. If you work for a company, you have to take company insurance. And he argued to death with me about it. And he went and looked it up, and he's a Democrat. And yeah, he was pretty much crushed when he couldn't, when we had to start paying for company insurance because the president at the time, they passed that bill, his bill. I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, yeah, the amount of stuff they try to stuff into one bill. So they try to sneak it in when nobody's looking. It's like subsection F, Article 92, subsection C. That's what we're gonna do there.
Yeah, this was also the story when they printed, the whole Obamacare thing, and it was taller than Trump, I think, or boxes full of the stuff. It's just too much. So, but doesn't that also make a law, basically worthless? Because listen, you need to look up page 10,255, section 2B, et cetera, et cetera. There's no judge who's gonna. Well, maybe there is. Maybe there is. Well, lawyers don't get rich for nothing. I don't know.
The sad thing, that none of these lawmakers that signed these bills actually read them. And that should be,
right, yeah.
I think at the very least, you should hold your lawmakers for anything that they vote on. If they can't pass a simple test about it, a day or two later, when people are questioning them about it, then maybe they should be gone.
Who's to say they're voting for it? Isn't it, which is the House and Senate or Representatives? If you're not present, somebody can go from another table to your table and vote for you.
Yeah, it's a disgrace. I think that's not allowed here. You're only allowed to vote for yourself. And if a law is passed in what we call the second chamber, it still has to be passed through the first chamber. That's the Senate. And the Senate has to approve the law before it becomes actual law. And then it also has to be published in the nation paper, pretty much, before it actually goes into effect. So they have to announce, the law before it comes into effect. And we have different elections for the second chamber where the actual political debate happens, and for the Senate chamber where laws are, as they say, decided on their merits, but usually they are decided on, political party lines all the same.
No doubt. And just to let you know, Void, Rhino the Bearded is ready to take over the stream on the No Agenda stream. So this Mark and George, how long has this been now? The Mark and George experience is taking over the No Agenda stream.
All right. Yeah. If Rhino is ready, I will say goodbye on the No Agenda stream, where we are co-streaming together with YouTube, which George is taking care of. So for those of you listening to the No Agenda stream, it's time for Rhino the Bearded and his 00 show, or is it the top 10? Do you know?
Tonight's his top 10.
The top 10. Excellent. Have a lot of fun, Rhino. And, in the morning, of course.
You wanted to overrun us and poison us and take our families and kill us?
There we go. I've got another one.
Come on over here. Come on, coward. Coward, I know that I want to punch you in the nose. I'll beat your goddamn ass, you son of a bitch. You're an intellectual dumbass, and I'm coming. You coward, you think you're a tough guy. I hate you, coward. We're going to defeat this anti-human scum. We're going to wreck their world.
God, it's so so powerful. All right, need to rename this one to Max 21. Boom. And George said 45 minutes, right? Because I think we are approaching that point.
Yes. Or we may have already passed it. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think so.
He had to go hunt some scorpions. I don't blame him.
However, I cannot call him on Skype because I am already calling him on Skype and I'm on the webcam. So let's see here.
He just kind of wave.
It could be that George is listening to us. If you are, George, please pop in to the chat again.
It could just be that George is asleep by now after all that traveling.
Yeah, it could be.
You let him enjoy his alone time with his wife. It's been 7 weeks.
That's a very good point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did y'all get the double entendre there? Or I'm the only one that
probably has alone time every evening there. But, alone time in your own house with your own wifey.
And of course, if they found like 15 scorpions in the house, I don't know how naked I'd want to be getting.
That's a good point. Oh, my God.
Could be dangerous.
Yeah. I have to say, I love how pragmatic Sir Bemrose is. I spent the day just ranting about the terrible situation that is currently on the No Agenda servers pertaining to updating those servers. It's a disaster, and I really need to figure out how to take care of that. So I was ranting today, and his only response is, "What do you need from me?" And that's how I like him.
He's a good guy. He knows what he's doing, and I was very curious because when you chat with somebody online, he's a guy that doesn't necessarily say a whole lot. He's very succinct and to the point, and I was worried that a podcast with him, you'd be like, "Hey, so what do you think?" And he'd be like, "You're wrong." But no, he goes on forever.
Right, yeah, he's certainly... quite the character, but he was also for me to listen to a nice surprise. And I disagree with him about the quality of his voice, and you do probably too.
I do, and everybody's got a different voice, and it comes down to, I know it really probably didn't help to have him doing a show with me because I know the big voice, and I was very honored when Adam mentioned that when they were reading my letter on the No Agenda show. So at least I know Adam has heard some of the stuff I do pre-show and that, where I don't think John listens to anything that any of us do, but
I don't think so. No.
So that was a nice comment that, hey, you got the big radio voice, and for me, I know I have a decent voice, but Larry is really next level. So for Sir Bemrose to get on that podcast with the two of us. I know he was having a little bit of voice envy, but the fact is his voice stands out. So there's nothing that is necessarily...
Well, to me, you guys are on par together. I don't know. I mean, Larry sounds like someone I know, and maybe Leo Laporte? Like a better version of Leo?
It could be a better version of Leo. Or I've come across a couple of pages where there was some of the stuff that Larry has done, and... I think he's done voiceovers pretty much all around. I mean, I know he's had stuff for like HBO and ESPN as far as like major networks here in the U.S.
Wow.
So you may have heard him on for movie trailers and stuff like that. You may have heard his voice at some point and just didn't know it because he really does have a voice. The minute my wife was like 2 minutes into Larry's show, was like, is this guy like a professional voice actor? Because he has that quality to him, not just like a radio sounding voice. It's like, here's a guy that I'd like to sit down and have read the night before Christmas or something.
Absolutely. It's a crossover between a little bit of Leo Laporte and a little bit of Art Bell in there too, I guess. Especially he has a form of patience that indeed makes you want to listen to him. Just talk about anything. How to set up a tent. I would listen to that.
He can tell a story in a way that just really, really comes through, and that's why I wanted to get him on the stream, because he's one of those podcasts that I've run into where you're like, this guy should be way more popular than he is, because he's putting out a fantastic sounding product, and it doesn't seem like he has a ton of listeners, but he's definitely putting the work in. I think he's almost up to episode 200, so that's a lot of episodes in the can.
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, he sounds like he made at least 2,000.
Yeah, well, I know, like I said, he's done this stuff professionally, and it's a big difference, like, doing it for somebody else. And I know he's done some actual radio work. I don't know how much he's worked, on the air, if he's ever been a DJ, but he definitely has that voice to him. Although he does different characters. He sent me a video of him doing like an old English rocker from a while ago, and I've heard him do a couple of different voices, including what was it, Ting Ting, the alleged Korean hooker that Kim Jong Un uses, and he does all these different voices, and I'm like, the only other guy that I know doing that, the only other guy I know doing that's Nick the Rat, and they're both from Brooklyn, so there's something in Brooklyn that these guys just have, the ability to do this stuff, and they do it really well.
I should try it. Maybe I can also do something like that. I could do it in Dutch, but I'm not sure if I could do it in English. I don't know. I when I was younger, I was always like, I want to make radio, and I want to become a voice actor. So, yeah,
and then you learn that neither one of those things pays well unless you're in like the top 1% of 1%. Because that's what I was interested in as well. And then the station here in Chicago, WXRT, which is kind of it would be your favorite station. They were the one, the kind that were playing the Smashing Pumpkins before anybody else, and that's
cool.
the style of music that they are. A friend of mine had a sister or cousin or something that was the overnight DJ for him, and they were like, she was making like $12,000 a year, working full time. Yeah. It's like, I'd like to eat rather than
Wow. Yeah, it doesn't earn you much. And in the days, these days of the internet, everyone wants to do it. It's very difficult. You can go on Fiverr.com and everyone is a voice actor there.
Yeah, but you can make some nice money there if you can get people to actually, because I was curious about that being the whole $5 deal. But there's a lot of them where it's like $5 per minute of audio. So if somebody's having you do 5 minutes of audio, at least you can.
Yeah,
you can make money.
Fiverr also, if you want to use it for commercial purposes, hey, here's an extra 100. If you want to, play it for an audience for live, here's an extra this and that. There are so many. It's never just $5.
No, which is the only reason. I mean, I know the rooms that I have set up here are decent, but to my ear, I can always hear a little bit of that room reverberation, and I know you would set up some of those panels, which help a lot, but. It really, at some point, I would like to have somebody just come in and build one of those whisper type rooms, which would probably be $1,000 in materials or so, but just to build a little vocal booth that would be completely dead. But, I guess
it's never completely dead. There's always the air molecules hitting the diaphragm.
It's all a matter of degrees, and that's why these microphones that block a lot of it really do go a long way. And then the louder you talk, nobody can hear the reverberations anyway.
Yeah, but those whisper rooms, oh man, they look so delicious.
They do look cool, don't they?
Yeah, they do. They look perfect. Just it looks like a nice fabric, and the color is nice, and they have a sturdy door. And oh yes, I totally understand why you would want one of those.
They've got the colored LEDs, and usually the foam is like a cool red or blue. It's not the boring, black or gray. And you're like, wow, that would be awesome to podcast.
Yeah, that's for sure. Listen, as much as I enjoy this, it's 1:10 a.m. I just finished the show notes, published everything. And I'm getting ready to ditch this place and get home. So,
hey, well, it's been fun talking to you, and hopefully, when George hears us later, he knows we were thinking about him.
Yeah, I thought he said "What's up," but it could be someone else. Maybe Pizza Roll, who just entered the chat.
Why?
Hey, Pizza Roll.
Hi.
Hi.
Howdy, Pizza Roll.
How are you?
Good. I can play music.
Yeah, you can play whatever you'd like. I need to go. So,
I
Darren,
would
talk
not
to you
play
soon, okay?
music on YouTube. George already
No,
gets enough
That's
strikes.
right. That's a good point. We're streaming on YouTube.
Yeah.
That's
No,
a good
but
point.
the thing is
Music
that I
quiz.
actually have an instrument. That's what I mean.
Oh, what kind of instrument?
Clarinet.
A clarinet. Okay,
It has
brother.
to be better than Dvorak's recorder.
That's for sure. Hit us with some clarinety tunes.
Well, I have to set it up first, so I'll just wait a bit.
All right. Yeah, impress George with that stuff. I see what you're doing.
I will catch you later, Mark. Have a good one.
Yes, thank you. Okay.
No problem.
Talk to you. Well, I'll be here all week. No, I will be here Sunday again. So see you then. Maybe
Later,
tomorrow.
all day, 24 hours a day, the nonstop Void Zero from Studio Zero.
He's always somewhere, but not always reachable. Adios.
Amen.
Talk to you
Later.
later. Bye.